I'm Kelly.
And I'm Danny. Welcome back to the Procreators Podcast for Moms Who Make Things.
The podcast for moms and future moms who are navigating their creative careers as they raise their little inspirations. We are so excited to introduce our incredible guest, Dr. Celina Dozier. She's a mom and she's the founder and CEO of Trap Baby and Me. Now, before we get into it, we want to let the people know all about you and your work.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me, Danielle and Kelly.
Yay.
Yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now sit back and enjoy as we talk all about you. Here we go. Dr. Celina Dozier is the founder and CEO of Trap Baby and Me. Through this innovative business, she has redefined the way babies, toddlers, and their parents connect and grow. By infusing the rich sounds and cultural tapestry of the African diaspora, including hip-hop, soca, and gospel, Trap Baby and Me creates a unique space where families bond through music and movement. With a PhD in environmental engineering and a role as a lecturer in the Department of Civil, Environmental, and Construction Engineering at the University of Central Florida, Dr. Dozier seamlessly bridges the worlds of academia and creativity. Dr. Dozier's commitment to celebrating diversity and fostering early childhood development shines through in her programs. Welcome, Celina.
That sounded really good.
See? Listen.
You did that.
This is all, we love this segment. We love to say this part because everybody always seems to be like, wow, yeah, that is me. Even though, you guys send us this stuff. But I think to hear it, and especially come from someone, it makes such a different an impact. And we're wowed away. Look at us. We're like, for real? All of this good stuff came from this one person. So yes, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to sit back and chat with us.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I'm excited for the conversation.
Yeah, we are too. And over here, we are always have the desire to lead with mom. We don't put our motherhood to the side. We put it at the forefront. It's not all of who we are. It's a part of who we are, but we never want to hide that, even though sometimes folks may want us to. Okay.
Right.
So Trap Baby and Me is honestly really incredible. And I honestly wish I had something like that when my kids were younger. But now that they're old, they can appreciate the awesomeness that it is, just like I can. But it seems to me like, you founded this to support moms and their children. So I think the question here is like, what was your journey to motherhood like? And how did that specifically influence your decision to create Trap Baby and Me?
Right. So my journey to motherhood was very planned out. I am an engineer. We like to be practical. I like to plan things.
Yes.
Marley, my son, who's 2.5 now, he was a planned out baby. So my husband and I met at FAMU.
Go Rattlers. Go Rattlers.
Go Rattlers.
And I have been in academia pretty much since college. I went to FAMU again, and then I went to UC Berkeley for my master's, and then I went to UT Austin for my PhD. Then I was in Massachusetts for a postdoc, and then I started working at Arizona State. And so through all of that, we talked about having children. We've been together for 19 years now, talked about having children, of course. But we had planned, to wait a little bit until careers got established and everything. Of course, many people have children during school. Bless them. Now, having a child and having a full-time job, I'm like, oh my God, this is a lot. But
yes.
We waited until we got to Orlando. He went to law school, FAMU Law. And,
oh boy.
Listen, you about to be all up and through here.
All up, and that's okay. We love it. We love a historically Black college, L University.
But we decided to have a baby, and people say that he's a pandemic baby, and I suppose just based on the timing that he is, but he was planned out. And so he was born in April 2021. And the business, it didn't come to my mind right away. It was something that came about because I was looking for something for him that both allowed us to get out of the house. COVID, you're at home, pandemic. I was working, but I was working remotely. So I was isolated from everyone, as many people were. I wanted to get out of the house. I wanted to meet new people, living in a new city. Even though I'm from Florida, Orlando is a new city for me. And even though I have people that are from high school that live here, they weren't like close friends because I had lived all over the freaking country for X number of years, right? So it was still a new city for me. So I wanted to meet new people. And then for him, I wanted him to be exposed to activities, whether that be like, jamboree type stuff or music. I have a musical background, but I also wanted that to match with him being exposed to his culture in a new type of way. Maybe not even new, just I was looking for something. I couldn't find
what you were looking for.
Mix
right.
Of those things, right? So I had joined I think it was called like Baby Buddies. It was a mommy and me class that a Black female mom puts on here. And so we went to that. It was really great. But she stopped doing it for a little bit. And so I was looking for something else. So I found a mommy and me music class called Music Garden. And it was really great. I started him at 9 months. And I just love music. He loves music. If you've ever seen my baby dance, like
his name is Marley. So, we just have the whole,
Exactly. Like it makes all the sense.
Yes, it does.
It would be the inspiration behind this thing. So we started doing the classes. We did it an entire year, which just shows how much we loved it. But what I found that I didn't quite gel with was one, the representation of the music wasn't, it was like, traditional, what you would think of as children's music, which isn't bad. But again, I wanted him to have something in his enriching activities that reflected his culture. And so I didn't really see that. And then also the level of participation, the diversity of the participation of the families wasn't great. And that could be a variety of things. One, doing classes on like a Tuesday or Wednesday at 10 a.m. is not possible for a lot of people that look like us, right? So I'm blessed in the fact that I have the type of job where I'm flexible in my schedule and I can do stuff like that. But not a lot of people that look like me can. And I just like, well, this is like, music is powerful. Like it can do a whole lot of things when it comes to like development or just like adults, we vibe with music we look for a different genre or whatever feeling that we're going through. So I'm like, well, babies and toddlers can do this. And it could be a way for parents to come out and really connect with their children and connect with others and build community. So I had this idea like in February of last year. Well, I'm going to rephrase that. God gave me this idea in February of last year.
All right now.
God.
Yes, that's right.
I got a whole baby. I got a full-time job. And I'm married. What you talking about? Well, you want me to start a business?
A whole business. Ooh.
Okay, that's funny. Right. So I ignored it for a little bit. And then probably July of that year, it just kept like, I was like, Celina, you got to do this thing. And I was like, okay, God, I'm going to figure it out. So I've been trying to figure it out ever since. So
kudos to you. Kudos to you for going. Okay, you were looking for a particular thing. And also kudos to you for listening to God, because he good like that, have this idea for you. But like you were looking for this particular thing and you really was like, okay, even though it didn't check all your boxes, you were willing to compromise, right? But you're talking about all the different things that you wanted in a class. And I believe that's something that a lot of parents are looking for. Like we tend to, I know for me, when I had my younger ones, like I also want to be engaged. Like I take them to places because I also want to be engaged. So with Trap Baby and Me, having a diversity like of music allows the parents to also be engaged, and that's they're happy, and then the kids know that they're happy, and if they're babies, they definitely feed off of that. So I definitely see how that's impactful and makes such a big difference.
That music component is clutch. Like I have seen some people say that they have to stop themselves from twerking in class. They forget what they
but you know what? Baby. That's right. You had a long week. Okay. But instead of seeing sleeping dads or sleeping, I've seen a lot of parents just be like, so like, all right, I'm just here for the baby. They know it's good for and they're just doing it just because they know it's supposed to be good for the child and social interaction, but not really enjoying it. So, but now, Trap Baby and Me it's for everybody.
It's for everybody.
Yeah, I think it's such an incredible thing to make, to not only see that there's a need, because that happens, right? Like,
Right.
oh, I wish da 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 da. And it's
Or
like,
this
Yes.
existed, right?
yeah. And then it's like taking the step to go and make it. And for you, it's like hearing God saying that you're the answer, you
Look
know,
at that.
that
Yes.
you're the person who meets the need, and not just for you, right? For other people in the community. So I think that's great that, heard this command, that you were like, all right,
Right.
I'm gonna
all
do it.
right, let me execute it. Cause it's ultimately
Yes.
not about me. It is like, how do I serve the community? How
Right.
do I serve my
Yes.
child? And then ultimately that refreshes you, right? It ends up being something that uplifts you as well. So I think that's also incredible. Now, you did say you've been all over the United States, and this is a fact. Okay, for your academic pursuits. Wow. Okay, she said East Coast, West Coast, in
Yeah.
Yes.
between, all
Yes.
over, which is incredible. Which, I mean, it's incredible, right? So going after higher education, I mean, kudos to you for that incredible work. And obviously, you have this very strong foundation in this extensive career in academia. So, how has being in higher education impacted your motherhood journey?
Oh, that's a great question. So, before I became a mom, I'm very like career focused, very career oriented, and I still am, right? But when you have a baby, when you have a child, and you like feel this love that you didn't know existed, right? You're just like, okay, I have this job and I still care about it, but my child is number one. My child is number one. And, the things that I do for work, while they still fulfill me, and I love teaching, and I'm just so blessed to have this business where I am still teaching, just in a different way, right? Just teaching younger ones instead of the older ones. They kind of feed off each other. Like, I am doing the work that I do. I call it the job that pays me right now, right? The job that pays me, and make sure that I and engaging with my students, and that they know that I really love what I do. It inspires them as well to see a professor that really loves teaching. And
Yeah.
I'm very big energy. I like to call myself like the Beyoncé of teachers, probably like
That's
really
right. Yeah.
thinking, like, it gives me some energy, right? Like,
Right.
how Beyoncé like prepares herself to go on
Yes.
stage, right?
Mhm.
That's the kind of like persona that I try to put on when I go in front of the classroom.
All
Mm.
right.
So I do that, and then I come home and like, engage with my son and think about how I can bring that same energy to the families that I serve. So, and also because I'm an engineering professor, I'm all about STEM education, right? So I'm always thinking about how I can expose children, even really, really small children, to STEM education. And music actually
Mm.
helps with that, like understanding
Ooh.
how things work, patterns, cognition,
Mm.
all that kind of stuff helps
Yes.
children to understand how the world works, and can help
Yes.
them to go into STEM fields. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Who would have thought?
That's
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 so dynamic.
incredible.
Yes.
And I know you have a background, well, you come from a family of musicians, right? Your dad, a family of musicians, and a family of FAMUians. I don't know, I know that's not a word, but
Hey, we gonna make it one of that.
but you come from, hearing you talk about the impact of music, the evidence is in your own life, right? Because your parents were musicians, and then you also, you know, three instruments while you were in high school. So you have that experience of seeing how music, and one of the things I think music does too is it helps build discipline.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
so, you're practicing your instrument, and you're actively seeing the outworkings of your practice.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I sound better than I did before.
Except
So,
when you're in middle and high school, practicing is the worst thing in the
I'm
world.
sure. I'm sure. I have a daughter right now. She is playing the flute, and she's actually, say a prayer for her. She's getting ready to audition into the advanced band.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah, on
She
Monday. So
better.
tomorrow. So she's
Tell her, go ahead and show out for the Jordans, okay?
but yeah, I think it's, you're right. It is something that's a challenge that you have to rise to. But I think the beauty of like showing the appreciation that's within the art, but also teaching your child like, hey, there's it's not just good to listen to, right? It's useful in so many other ways while
Yeah.
you're enjoying it. So that's actually fantastic that you could break that down. Can you explain, this is just a random question, okay? Can you explain a little bit more about environmental engineering for the people who are just like, interesting. Wow.
Oh, that sounds great. They're just going to Google it later. Go ahead. Tell us.
So the way that I like to describe environmental engineering, it's like the relationship between people and the environment. Like, what do we do as just being humans? How can that affect the environment? And then how can we utilize the environment to benefit ourselves? So for me, my focus was and still sort of is water treatment. So drinking water treatment, wastewater treatment, the water that we get, making it clean. I'm gonna talk a little bit about my dissertation, just a little bit.
Okay, just a pinch. Go ahead, just a pinch. Go ahead.
So my work was in removing pharmaceuticals from drinking water and wastewater. So the way that our drinking water systems work right now is that they are not designed to treat these types of chemicals. They're very specific chemicals that have they're very persistent, and the way that our treatment systems work is not for them, right? So my project was to figure out a way to treat pharmaceuticals. And specifically, I was looking at a compound called ciprofloxacin. It's an antibiotic. And so what I was doing was I was creating particles that had a mixture of two different oxides. So one of them is aluminum oxide, which acts as a sorbent, meaning that whatever is nearby, aluminum oxide will like bring it close to it. I added the
magnet,
water
like a magnet, kind of.
Yeah, you can think of it as a magnet. It like brings it close to the surface. And then I had the other particle or compound is called titanium dioxide. You may be familiar with titanium dioxide. It's used in like sunscreen, stuff like that. It's used in some personal care products. But that compound, when it is exposed to ultraviolet light, it can create what are called radicals, and radicals can react with a whole lot of things. So I'm using the aluminum oxide to pull the compound out of water, and then I'm using the titanium dioxide to break it down. So that was the project that I was working on. I hope that made sense.
What's bothering me? What's bothering? I'm still stuck on pharmaceuticals in the water. I'm just like, why are y'all trying to kill us? Like, I'm still stuck right there. Okay.
The thing about it is, like, when we consume pharmaceuticals, not all of it is metabolized by our system. So it's like a range, like maybe 20 to 70%, depending on what the compound is.
Crazy.
That just goes right through our system and then goes into wastewater treatment plants that again are not designed to actually treat them. So drinking water, wastewater is my focus. There's also climate change, of course, yeah.
Let me go dig a well or find a spring in my backyard.
Let me go live in the bushes and just hope for the best.
I don't know if that'll work better, considering the environment is suffering everywhere. But thank you for those insights. I do feel like I took a light science class in that couple of seconds. But thank you for informing us on a little bit of the work you do, which is important. We don't think about that, but it's like there's moms that are out here who are helping to structure our world.
Saving our world, literally.
Literally. Okay. Who said moms aren't superheroes? We've got one right here at the table with us. Okay. She's trying to give us clean water. Okay. All right. She's trying to help us. She's trying to help us out.
That was my PhD project. So since graduating from PhD, I worked a little bit, started doing the same thing with some other stuff, doing my postdoc. But then once I started working at Arizona State, it really just became about teaching. I enjoy teaching. So I no longer do like the field research type stuff anymore. The beautiful thing about the work that I do as a lecturer is that I focus on teaching. But if I want to do a little bit of the research, if I miss it, then I can dabble. I'm not forced to,
you can dabble.
With like academic research can be really, really demanding. And so I think it would be very difficult for me to do that while at the same time trying to start a business versus the work that I do as a lecturer and focus on teaching. And then I have a little bit more time to hang out with Marley, just hang out, but also do the business.
Nice. Yeah,
So
I
see
love that.
that leads us to our next question.
Okay.
How did you go from being Dr. Dozier, right, to going and creating? Well, we know you said how you got this because you wanted to create this space, right? But like, what made you feel confident to make that shift? Yes, you had the need and desire, right? But like, how? Like, what
How?
was in, yeah, like what made you feel like, you know what? Yeah, I can do this, easy peasy.
Yeah, and also just to like, as you're answering this question, like
Yeah.
when in this journey did you decide? Like, how old was Marley? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? I guess we're just trying to figure out like the process, because there's women who might be listening right now who are
Yeah.
like, I have this idea, but I'm juggling motherhood. I'm juggling my job. I'm trying to,
Right.
how do I execute? You know, how
Yeah.
do I execute?
That's me. So
What
tell
takes
me,
me
because
over? Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure it out. You know, I think part of it is I just felt that the need was there and I wasn't seeing any other alternatives. So it was like, either you're gonna do it or it's not gonna happen. So again, I had the idea February of last year, sat on it. God was encouraging me. I'm not gonna say nagging, God don't nag, but he was encouraging me.
kept reminding you. There you go.
Right. And then I think maybe July, no, April. So April, I went to my sister's birthday party. And at her birthday party was her friend. Her name is Dr. Talisa Pitts. Talisa had just finished her PhD in early childhood education. And so I said, Talisa, you know, what are you going to do after you finish? What are your plans? She's the director of a Head Start program up in Jacksonville. So I was just asking her what she was going to do. She was like, you know, I don't know, whatever God shows me, you know, I go down that path. And I said, well, I have an idea.
You're trying to give it to her? What? Okay, let me stop. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think I want to do like music classes, but for like babies that use music that you wouldn't find in like a traditional music. She was like, we'll talk. So that was April, end of April. Again, I was just sitting on it. I told her, but I was sitting on it. And then July, like, you got to start working on it now. It is what it is. This is what God has called you to do. You better hop on it. And so I registered the business first with the state of Florida. And then I think I had hired my graphic designer pretty early on, because it was really important to me that the aesthetics of the business, one, were just nice, but also spoke to what the business was. And I wanted people to know that this is a serious thing. This is not just some hobby.
Right.
This is a thing, and it will be big. Point blank period. So
period.
Branding of it needed to be right. And so I hired her. She started working on it. I love my logo. I don't know who doesn't
it's
like
so cute.
Yeah.
it, but I love
and it's
my logo.
the color scheme is also great too. It does it
very
definitely
vibrant.
speaks very African. I get
Yes.
you know. Yes.
It's really great. And so she made that. I think I got that in October. Started working on like the tax stuff, all the back end administrative things. And I decided to do a preview class in November of last year. There's a Facebook group here called Black Moms of Orlando. And I was noticing a lot that parents were asking, and this is actually what I did with Marley when I had him. I was like, where do I go for a class or something to do with my son that also has cultural engagement? Now, people weren't asking about the cultural engagement part. They were just looking for something to do, right? And so I kept seeing people looking for something. And so I was like, okay, I'm about to do something, just hold on. And I had created this event, and it was beautiful. Like, to see something that you have in your head, right? Even like toiling around for a while, and then to see it in front of your eyes and come to fruition.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I cried. I'm pretty sure I did. I'm a
But-
crybaby. I'm pretty sure I cried. So I did that in November, and then I did another one in December so I could have my photographer and videographer come out to get content and everything. I hired my website designer, and the next thing you know, January hit and we were rolling.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you think that the initial class is what gave you the push to do it? Like, because you're going from adults to toddlers.
right?
You only had the one. So, what the confidence to say, okay, I'm teaching adults, but I can still keep these kids engaged.
Yeah. So I think the other part that gave me the confidence in doing it is that once I began, I just started to see how God had really created my life to do this. Like the things that I had experienced as a child were just like, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Let me explain. So my family owned a daycare center when I was a child, and it was one of the top 10 daycare centers in the country.
Wow.
It was one of the top 10 daycare centers in the country. So I have grown up with just children around. I would go to the daycare center like every single day, and I would be around children. And so I know how to engage with children, even though I don't have like the professional background or certifications yet to deal with children and to teach children. I know just based on experience how to be engaged with children. Additionally, I have 5 nephews and 1 niece.
There you go.
I've been an aunt since I was 13 years old. Okay.
So you're not new to this. You true to this.
I'm not to this. Okay. So I've been just able to pull that out. Also teaching in general. Yes. Engaging with different age groups changes things a little bit, but you're still teaching, right?
Right.
Facts. Right.
And then the music part is I started playing an instrument when I was in first grade. Recorder, everybody played a recorder.
Right.
And then I started playing clarinet in second grade. I think I started playing oboe, maybe in third or fourth. Tenor saxophone. I dabbled a little bit in flute. And I had been playing music in bands since elementary school, all throughout high school. If I thought that I could manage engineering and the marching 100, I probably would have done that as well. And some people do it. I don't know how.
Right.
But I chose one. So
and that's okay.
But yeah, just all these things were just like, oh, also I love trap karaoke. So
there we go. I love that. Right. Wow. I love that. This is, and we talk about, a lot of times people get caught up in like, okay, what is the idea of who I wanted to be, right? And then what they saw for themselves. As a kid, you have this idea of who you are. But I love how God has a way of just making it whole, making things make sense, right? So as you talk about, you're reflecting and you realize that, you were doing this since you were a kid. Like you had experiences with, early childhood education. And even though your certification might say PhD in engineering, but you have a life PhD in childhood just development because you've been in there, you've been actively working in it. And it's a beautiful thing to see, when things make sense, when everything just comes together. We love these kinds of stories.
I also think, just be going down the path of engineering also gives my business this added perspective of, I talked about STEM. Like, okay, well, now I can bring in the STEM component to it, which is different from the classes that I have seen and have researched. Like they don't have that portion of it. So yeah.
That's so awesome. Okay. Now we have another question.
Okay.
How has motherhood enhanced or challenged you creatively? Like we already know, like creatively, like right now you've created this wonderful class, right? We've seen how it enhanced, but how has it challenged you? Like your creative side?
How has it challenged me? I think just the timing bit of it, just being able to manage all the things is difficult. I'll say, okay, this is the thing. So the inspiration that my mother-in-law calls Marley my muse.
Yes,
my
he is.
right? He certainly is. I am trying to figure out, and it's just something that I probably won't figure out, just something that I'm always thinking about how to do. And that is putting my time and energy into the business such that it becomes this thing that people love and people are taking something away from for themselves and for their children. But at the same time, my muse, right? He is the reason that I made this, and I want it to be for him as well. And so sometimes it is difficult for me to manage putting time and effort into him while at the same time putting time and effort into the business. Like,
Makes
you know,
sense.
when it comes to what's more important, there's no doubt my son is more important.
Right.
But he gets benefit from the classes. Other people get benefit from the classes, but I don't want the time and effort that I put into the business take away from the time and effort that I put into him.
That is beautiful. That's a constant struggle, right?
Yeah.
People, they're struggling with, okay, the work that I'm doing is ultimately for my children. Yes, it satisfies me and it pays the bills, but ultimately you're trying to create like a legacy. But you also don't want to forget the present, right? And being now, not just making a great future, but also making sure and showing that you have a great present. I love that.
Yeah, that is wonderful. That is beautiful. It's beautiful to hear that. Yeah, it is definitely a challenge we don't even like using the word balance, but we just say navigating.
Right,
Like,
navigating.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
You
I
gotta
planned on doing this class like the entire year. And it's laughable right now for me to even think about. So I was planning. So the way that I started the classes was every Saturday for 8 weeks. I call that session 1. And I had 2 sessions already this year. I think when I started, I was like, oh, I'm going to do 5 sessions. Celina. So I brought it down to 3. I'm not even going to do a third full 8-week session this year. I'm going to do some pop-ups, but I'm really gearing towards relaunching in 2024. But the plan was to do these things or to do the classes throughout the year such that I have them, the business is running, and also for the benefit of my child is that he's in these classes as well. Well, I'm not doing the classes for the rest of the year. Again, I'm going to do some pop-ups, which means that Marley is not taking a music and movement class. So he's not getting the benefit of it as consistently as I had it for the sessions. Does he get it just by me and him just, rocking out at home? Yes, we do all the things. But he's not getting those structured classes that I had intended. So it's a little bit of, oh no, but he's a thriving child. He's fine.
Exactly. Listen, they figure it out.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
We put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and we talk about this all the time as moms. We just want the absolute best for our child, right? For our children. We just want them to have the best of everything. And sometimes we put that pressure on ourselves when honestly, sometimes all they really want is just us. Yeah. Yes, the structure is good, but we don't have, I can already know from your engineering background, I can already tell you already have a structured life. So he's not losing anything in terms of structure or discipline, just as, missing that one, the class, but I'm sure there's other examples in your life of structure and discipline.
Yes,
so
yes.
Give yourself grace, mama. Give yourself grace.
Yes. And so from your experience, obviously, what are a few tips that you can share that can help moms who are also building their own businesses or looking to launch their own business while raising their kids? Think whether it's tools that help you or tips that help you, whatever support you could share for
the steps that you took first, maybe, or something like that.
The steps I took first. So I'm a researcher just because I'm an academic, so I look up all the things. But I think women are researchers, right? We just gotta know everything. So yes, when you have a question about something, Google is your friend. Right. But also more practically speaking, there is something called SCORE, which is put on by the Small Business.
Love them.
Really? Ooh, now I'm gonna write
definitely
take notes.
Get a SCORE mentor. So I have a SCORE mentor that I talk to maybe once every 2 months. You can talk to them, whatever frequency that you want. It is absolutely free.
Oh my goodness. I've never heard of this.
Yes, SCORE.
Kellyanne, you been holding out on me?
I mean, listen, during the pandemic, I was doing everything SCORE. They also have like workshops, seminars that they do.
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
So find
Noted.
a SCORE mentor, whether it be a for-profit business or a nonprofit, they have SCORE mentors that can help you with your business. So reach out to someone to get some assistance. It's good to have a sounding board, even if it's just like, I just have this thought about something. I don't really know what to do. Can you help me with this? Yes. In fact, I talked to my SCORE mentor really briefly one time. I had a question. People were interested in investing in the business. And so I wanted to know, like, what do I do about this? So I called her up, we had a meeting, and she was very, very helpful. So get a SCORE mentor. I would also say join a chamber of commerce locally. So I'm a part of the African American Chamber of Commerce here in Orlando. Good networking opportunities. They also put in workshops and seminars. They just had their annual empowerment conference last month. So I went to my first empowerment conference last year. This was in August of last year. And that conference was so instrumental in like pushing me to do the thing. Yeah, I had registered the business, but I wanted to go and just connect with people. And it was phenomenal. They had a speaker there by the name of Simon T. Bailey. He's a motivational speaker. And when I tell you he motivated the socks off of me, like I was like, oh, I was in the audience, like I'm like tearing up a little bit because he was just talking about like God giving you this talent. He likes to use the word brilliant. You're brilliant, and how whatever idea that you have, people are out there that need it. So do what you got to do to make it come to fruition. And so I went to the conference. And then I think I had a flight to Colombia the next day or 2 days after. I'm on the flight, like writing down ideas in my notebook, like different lesson plans. I was just like, yes. So all that to say, join a Chamber of Commerce, National Association of Women Business Owners. I'm a member of that as well. And other advice is don't try to do everything at once.
Oh, that's you preaching to a lot of the mamas here. What do you mean don't try to do it?
It's something that I have to keep reminding myself. Like, Celina, one thing at a time.
That one, to do everything at once.
Like all the ideas that you have. And so I don't know if you guys know about the author, and she's a social media person. Her name is Lovey Ajayi. So she just put out something like last week talking about ideas. Like some ideas are for tomorrow. Some ideas are for next week or for next decade. Right. All ideas don't have to be worked on today. And that is going to release like a lot
of pressure. Yes.
Like one step at a time.
So I'm gonna have to go find that and repost that on the podcast page because we need listen, we need a reminder. It's so true. And I think because of how we operate, I feel like as moms too, you have the checklist in your mind of all the things, right? Yeah. And all the things that you want things that need to be done daily, things that need to be done monthly, all the doctor's appointments. So like, if we give ourselves grace and understand, like kind of schedule things like that, like it's not always pressing, it's not always immediate. Somebody talked about that about laundry too. There was like, if you look at laundry, right? They talked about laundry being a cycle and understanding that it's a cycle because you're always like, there's always laundry. And I'm listen, I have a pile of laundry right behind me. Thank God for this background. But anyway, it's always a cycle, right? So you have dirty clothes, wash clean clothes, and then you have to fold and put them away. So right now I'm in the process of the wash and put away, right? Yeah. So I'm at that point in the cycle, but I've still done the work. So it's just telling, basically giving yourself grace for the cycles. You're doing the work. It's just in a different cycle. It's just a different part of the cycle.
Yes. My clothes will be unfolded for a while. It's like, and then once I fold them, I'm like, I got to put them up. Come on.
Yeah. Right. Oh, I know. I have that. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out, I have to figure out another way. And like I started doing laundry twice a week. So like, okay, less of like not a big mountain, but still it's the putting away. Like if I had a robot who could just put the clothes away, I think Life would be
A
so much better.
robot.
I'm trying to teach my kids to be those robots, though.
Like, why we don't have a robot yet? We got self-driving cars. We got a robot for the clothes. Come on now.
So listen, help us out. They don't care. Listen, we got to care about mothers. Get you some engineering friends who can engineer that for us, please and thank
I
you.
thought
This has been really fantastic. And I will say that, that this last part of the conversation is something that I struggle with. I'm always ready to do all the things. The ideas as a creative person, like there's always what if we da, 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 and I just have notebooks, filled with ideas or snippets and, just waiting for the moment where those things can actually see the light of day. But,
right.
But yeah, I think there is definitely a need to just be mindful of what season it is. I think a lot of us will struggle with, how do I know when to wait and when to go? I think that is, I think, where people land sometimes too. Like, this could be the moment and I don't want to miss my moment. So I must do it now. Yeah, and I think the Lord will help us. Like, I think God will help us to know, like, it's go time and everything will start aligning.
Yeah, that.
And you're like, okay. It is time.
Yeah.
And I think there's some peace in it too, right? Like, I feel like when the time is right, like, God is not an author of chaos, right? He doesn't want you to be chaotic and all over the place. He knows the time that you put into something. He knows the preparation. And I feel like, as you said, it's going to align that way, the right way when it's the time. And then I feel like there'll be a peace. So, because, you've had it, Kellyanne, girl, you've been doing things, you've been having,
I know, but, I always have a lot of different ideas and I have to really pace myself and go, okay, well, what's supposed to be happening in this season for real, and not what society might be saying, because I'm in the entertainment industry. So there's a lot of, you gotta go, you gotta do the things, you gotta show up here, you gotta, so there's a lot of that. And I'm really try my hardest to not go on anyone else's calendar, but on the calendar that God has for me. And I
love that, being mindful of your
mental health too. You try to do so many different things, it can just mess with you. You gotta be at peace.
I love that.
That's what we're going for, right? We're going for peace.
Yes, I love it. Mindfulness of the season, the current season. I love that. Yes. Okay, now we're gonna jump into the fun stuff. We have a fun stuff segment. Okay. Who's your favorite TV mom? Or movie mom?
Okay, so I'm not gonna give the obvious Claire Huxtable answer.
You can. Everybody does, but it's okay.
We've had a couple of different ones that caught us off guard. So
this one might catch you off guard. So I don't know if you've ever. This is not a family friendly answer, nor is it a family friendly show. Okay, but we're adults. So there's this show called I'm Sorry. Have you guys heard of this show?
No.
Okay.
Let me look it up.
Check it out when you have a chance. But it's called I'm Sorry. It was only on for 2 seasons. It was on FX when it first came out, and then it got on Netflix, and I think it might be on Hulu now. So basically, this woman, she is a comedy writer. Her name is Andrea. I think the creator is Andrea Savage, and her humor is different. It's a little crass. The show, in my opinion, was hilarious. But the reason that I would say that she's my favorite TV mom is that she is unafraid of being herself. Like, she is just, this is what it is. You take it or you leave it. I am who I am. I'm comfortable in my skin. And that's what I aspire to be. Like, I am who I am. I love what I love. And I'm going to try to do the best that I can with what God gave me. So
I love that. I love that answer. Listen, it doesn't have to be typical. But I love the reasoning behind it. Like, I love your thoughtful response. I think that was great. Okay.
And now what?
Yeah, I'm actually going to look into it. Because I already know that the actress who's playing in that, she's a trip already. So I already know it's going to be hilarious. Your favorite thing about being a mom and your least favorite.
My favorite thing about being a mom is just watching this little human grow. Like, I just would see him just wake up in the morning and see his little face. He likes to laugh when he wakes up, which is the most adorable thing. Adorable. And I'll look at him and be like, how are you so big? Like, I just had you 2 years ago. Why are you so tall? Well, mom is tall, dad is tall. So that makes sense. Yes. But still, what is happening? Just to see him grow. And when he says words that I didn't even know that he knew, and he knows how to use it correctly.
Mind blowing.
I mean, one, that means that Trap Baby and Me is working. That's the
facts. Okay.
That's the whole point. Is for him to do that kind of stuff. But when it happens, I'm like, oh wow, you like know stuff.
Love that.
And then I would say my least favorite is the constant worry. Especially having a boy. Like, how many times are you going to try to hurt yourself today? You have to look out for today. And I know that changes, whatever that worry looks like changes as they grow older. But once he was conceived, that's when the worry starts, right? Okay, we're trying not to do too much. I think that's just a natural part of being a parent. It's just the worry. But
Kelly will tell you she has 2 boys, and it definitely the worry changes as their interests grow, right?
That is for sure, 100%.
No, you gotta. What is he doing? What's he called? BMX biking, basically, or at this point.
Oh wow!
But he's so good.
Yeah,
like there's no deny. Like I can see him doing that. If he changes his mind, he can do anything. This little boy, but definitely.
How old is he?
He's 10.
Okay,
amazing.
But he's been like that since he was
the beginning of time.
He was doing parkour at probably 4, 5, trying to skateboarding pretty young too.
Marley had a play date with someone and they were just doing all the things. I was like, this is like toddler parkour. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Definitely stressed me out once or twice or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, 8, 9 times. It's been hectic.
Warning. And people are telling me that 3 years old is worse than 2 years old. And I'm like, how, Sway? Like he does all the things now, the jumping on the things and the climbing of the things and putting his body in these weird positions through furniture. Like what?
Yeah.
I think that's a children thing because my girls do that too. And I'm just like, and Aaron is more protected. My husband's more protected than I am. And he'd be like, you see, not see. I say, well, they're not hurt. She's still exploring. Just let her, let's just wait. Let's wait it out. Just see what happens. Most times they recover well. Once in a while, something might slip in there at all. But for the most part, just like, okay, she got it. She'll figure it out.
Ooh.
That's what I do.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keeping them alive.
Now, well, we do the best that we can. Now, to end up our wonderful episode, this wonderful, wonderful episode, we want to know if you have any words of affirmations for a creative mommy.
Oh, words of affirmation. And we do affirmations in Trap Baby and Me, just FYI.
Oh, give us one of the Trap Baby and Me affirmations. No, give it to us. I love that.
Jules TV does an affirmation song. So we played the Jules TV affirmation song and we have mirrors. I have little mirrors. I don't think I have one around me, but we have these little mirrors that we have the parents hold up to the child. Like, I am smart. I think it says, I am smart. I am kind. I think I am respectful. So things like that. So I guess when it comes to being a mom, just like believing in yourself, like I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me, right? Like,
okay, now she preaching. Come on now.
And you can. If God is giving you this idea, he's not going to let you do it by yourself. Like he's going to give you the tools that you need to execute it, right?
So say that again real clear into the mic. Tell him to say it again. If he's giving you the tools, what? Go ahead.
He's giving you the tools. He's giving you the idea. He will give you the tools to succeed and to execute. So you got to believe in yourself.
Oh, I love that. Oh, thank you so much, Celina. Thank you so much. You have poured into us. Well, we always, as I say, this is our healing day when we have our episodes.
This was fun.
This is what we aspire to do. We want to encourage people. You definitely encouraged me. And we hope you feel encouraged too and lifted as well. We're so proud of you, what you're doing, that you've taken this thing that God has given you and you have just gone forth with it. And what bravery and, oh my gosh, so many things. It takes so much to do what you have done. And we're just so proud of you.
Yes, we are. So let people know, how can they connect with you on social media? How can they get in touch with Trap Baby and Me?
Yes.
Instagram, LinkedIn, all the things.
We got all the things. So our website, trapbabyandme.com. The social media handles are all at trapbabyandme. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, which I'm gonna be honest, this TikTok thing, I just feel old.
Me too. I was just telling somebody, it's so hard for me because it's so much information, and it just feels like information overload.
Yes.
So I really steer clear of it.
Yes.
I like my algorithm on Instagram.
Yeah, I had a social media manager that was navigating or doing the things for me for Instagram. And thankfully, a lot of the reels that are made on Instagram can also be on TikTok. Just like, can we stop with these social media networks? Can we just leave it where it is? I can handle those. Like, don't add anymore.
Please.
But we also, my email is info@trapbabyandme.com. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's, you can DM me. Please follow Trap Baby and Me. We are on a little bit of a hiatus right now as we plan and prepare for our launch again in 2024. I'm also thinking about doing a crowdfunding campaign. So if you're interested in supporting Trap Baby and Me, please follow us, and I'm going to share all the information as the time comes.
Awesome.
We love that. We absolutely love that. Thank you for sharing all those important details, and feel free to, send us, and we would love to be able to promote your crowdfunding campaign.
Yes, and thanks again for joining us on the Procreators podcast. Dr. Dozier, guys.
Yeah, this was fun. Thank you guys so much.
You're so very welcome, Dr. Dozier. Special thanks to our audience. Catch us weekly on Wednesdays on Spotify and Amazon Music. Leave a review and follow us on Instagram and Facebook to get more information and inspiration on motherhood and making things.
Have a question or comment? Send us an email at theprocreatorspodcast@gmail.com.
So next time, keep creating, mamas.
See ya.